Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing my prediction for the 2023 5107 GCE N-Level Science Biology paper. After preparing this document, I realized the accuracy was more than 80%. So, I'm very confident in my judgment for bio paper. So please pay attention to every single detail on what to focus on if you are a candidate for this year's biology paper. Now, let us review what was tested in last year's MCQ section and the structured questions. These are the learning objectives covered in the 2022 N-level paper. We have functions of organelle, adaptation of red blood cells, food tests, identification of amino acids from polypeptides, assimilation concept, function of liver and pancreas, photosynthesis equation, what are the reactants, products, and conditions, the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis and the products, transpiration, as well as the factors affecting the rate, translocation, what is it, blood clotting and importance of fibrin in the process, adaptation of arteries, risk factors of coronary heart disease, interpretation of relationship between units of carbon monoxide and number of cigarettes smoked. There is a growing trend of database questions in N-level. Of course, it will not be as intense as the one you saw in pure biology. It is of a much smaller scale that tests students' basic interpretation skills, which are not very difficult actually. Products of aerobic respiration, concepts of asexual reproduction, the process of fertilization involving the formation of zygote, the functions of the organs in the reproductive system, both male and female. For the structured questions, the students are required to label parts of the human circulatory system and state the function of the hepatic portal vein. They are also required to compare the concentrations of oxygen between the left and right side of the heart and explain the difference. The difference between plant and animal cell, data analysis, of course, in a much scaled down version of HIV infections number over a period of 10 years, asking questions like how is HIV spread and why is there a reduction in the number over the recent years, sexual reproduction in plants involving the functions of the parts of the plant that are involved in sexual reproduction, pollination, and fertilization. Parts in cross-section of leaf and concept of transpiration, enzymes and organs in digestive system, diffusion concept of surface area to volume ratio, gaseous exchange in lungs, in the alveoli. Now, in summary, here are the popular topics for last year's paper. We have cells that appear in both MCQ and structured. We have diffusion and osmosis, biological molecules, enzyme, human nutrition and digestions, plant nutrition, transport in human, transport in plant, respiration, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. In general, the rule of thumb is whatever question that appear in last year's paper will not repeat itself in this year. But it doesn't mean that the same concept tested last year will not be tested this year. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to predict the likelihood of these questions that will come out, meaning the questions that I'm going to predict are the more likely questions, but they may not appear. As I said, based on last year's paper, I'm only 80% accurate. So it's still a good basis for us to make reference to. All right. So here are the possible topics, but please don't take my word for all. I'm not God Okay, I'm not able to predict exactly what the Cambridge or the SCAB examiners will say. Now, so focus on this for this year paper. Cells, make sure you know the functions of every single organelle. They seem to have an interest in this nowadays. Identify organelle from diagrams and electron micrograph haven't come out yet. So make sure you're exposed to different types of diagrams, including electron micrograph, to know how the organelle looks like. All right. It may appear a bit blur, as I've seen in some school prelim papers. So make sure you are very familiar with the different types of diagrams. Adaptation of root hair cell or xylem vessels. Differentiate cell, tissue, organ system, and identify examples. I give you one example that appear in the school paper. They may give you the cross-section of a leaf. All right, so the whole leaf is considered an organ. And then you have the gut cells, okay, that is controlling the opening and closing of the stoma. Okay, the gut cell itself is the cell, all right? And they may point to one of the organelle inside the cell, for example, the palaeocyte or the spongy mesothelial cell. They may point to the chloroplast, that will be organelle, and they may label the entire palaeocyte or spongy mesothelial cell, that is tissue. Or they may just point to xylem and phloem, that is also tissue. Okay, something like that. And you must understand the different levels between cell, tissue, organ system. So the lowest level will be organelle, and then cell, then tissue, then organ tissue, organ system. So make sure you know the different examples lah. Okay, like red blood cell is cell, xylem vessel is tissue, organ is like heart, liver. If they give example, let's say example of a plant, make sure you give a plant. Example, if they ask for an organ from the plant, you give leaf. You don't go and put skin or put liver or kidney. That's all wrong. Okay, so please read the question carefully. Are they asking for cell, tissue, organ system? And are they asking for plant or animal, or they are not particular about it? Yes, I'm still predicting the importance of the role of diffusion osmosis. It did appear last year. However, I feel that it may appear either in MCQ or some structured questions. So don't take this very lightly, because they did not really test a lot in terms of the explanation for last year paper. Role of water haven't appeared yet. So please study this just in case it come out. Then we have food test. This time round, focus on the procedures. Make sure you know all the procedures, okay? Lock and key hypothesis, enzyme and substrate, still study, although it came out on the explanation on how pH and temperature affect enzyme, but still study this in detail about the active site, complementary, when the product is formed, it's no longer complementary, etc. Functions of organs in digestive system, the enzymes and substrate, make sure you know all of them very well. Don't confuse. Wilting occurs. How does it occur? Okay, these haven't come out yet. The role of blood components. Study blood clotting again. The role of, or rather the structure of arteries, veins, capillaries, to its functions. The parts of the respiratory system. Effect of lactic acid. This one is important. And how was it formed? Make sure you study about lactic acid very well. Everything. Menstrual cycle haven't appeared for some time. It may appear this year. Concept of asexual and sexual reproduction, going to study again the difference. And also, don't neglect other things I never mentioned here, like fertilization, pollination. Study again. Okay? Not very sure what will exactly come out. So I hope this will help you in your revision journey. Please remember to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.